grabbing that one, gets the roaming. This is the style that's worked for TT. This is what we were talking about, right? The roaming mid laners. And Cryin, very much a classic if he goes for that Lissandra. If you think back to Cryin on RNG, it was all about the Twisted Fate, the Lissandra, and occasionally a little bit of Annie in there as well. The Lissandra will be locked in the end. Poppy available if they want to just go for a jungler. Maybe focusing more towards getting a priority AD carry. With the amount of ADC bans, I can understand the logic.
I mean, you've still got a lot of answers to the Aphelios at the moment. Like, we've seen the Jinx starting to rise up as, like, going back towards old school spring style if you want to. And I think that could work out well here for Kepler. It's Kepler's most played. He's happy to go for it. And then, yeah, I think grabbing the Poppy does make the most amount of sense here. Like, maybe Ultra Prime go towards the Trundle and they try and go for this, like, double frozen matchup in the mid lane. But I still think for TT, you have a decent amount of control here to try and get Ucal into a comfortable spot.
So Poppy, Jinx, picks we talked about, Trundle available for Hacker. I feel like this is a very standard draft from both teams. Nothing too out of the ordinary. The Lissandra this early is a little interesting, but I think just not wanting to show their hands, right? Wanting to go with two picks that are, you know, you expected a roaming mid from Cryin. That's not really giving too much away. And Aphelios doesn't give much away either. And then going for the counter pick in the jungle.
I thought that Rammus was locked in for a second when I saw a flick. I was like, what? But no, yeah. Look,
listen, that would work for Cryin. Just, sorry, for Hacker. Like, the first 15 minutes, just going in every single lane every 4 seconds. Yeah. I'd love to see it, honestly.
Yeah, unfortunately, it won't be the case, but definitely would have made for a very fun early game. But again, as you say, pretty bog standard. Ultra Prime can play 4 picks very much with the Lissandra and the Trundle, so I'm curious to see what they do want to go for in like the top and support role. But we always know that Zoom has kind of been more of the like frontline tank player. Like Sejuani is one his most played at the moment. Nar, one of the big ones for him, which I would imagine might be taken off the board here. But I mean, you know that Ultra Prime basically just going to go full for Lordian here and trying to make sure there is much control and CC on the map to then let Elk be the big carry in the Aphelios.
Never go full Freljord. It's the classic wisdom. I will say, new Freljord champion coming. Oh dear, becoming a Freljord champion. Well, sort of, kind of.
He's a bit of everything because he's got Ornn, he's got Anivia.
Wait, they're all Freljord dudes, aren't they?
And he still has Turtle though, doesn't he? Or who's the Turtle? Oh, Turtle's born now, isn't it? So it is Sejuani. So yeah, they're all Freljord.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's all Freljord stuff. I think. I'm not really sure. But he's still a man that runs up and punches people in the face. And that's what we all know and love. The Renata locked in after our bans here. Alongside the Aphelios. Very, very standard stuff. Over to the side of TT though. Let's see if they want to go with something like an Ashe support maybe. It's been the pick into this Aphelios Renata.
Yeah, it just makes it so easy to try and find these picks. But I think if you go for the Ashe and the Jinx, you're just so vulnerable on this bottom side. The Rakan can help to a certain extent for trying to find knockups and then dash it away. But I'd actually really like to see a Thresh here. I think Thresh kind of a bit underrated in the current meta, but when you've got like so many tools that are trying to gun for Kepler on this Jinx, I think having some sort of reposition tool could be useful. But instead, they're like, no, we go in and we only go in. So Nautilus going to be locked in here, and Zoom will take the Ornn into the Sejuani matchup. We already said it. Zoom just wants to play frontline engage.
And also just, you know, wanting to get as many Udyr-based champions in the top lane as physically possible. Yeah. So I respect, you know, listening to our conversation, wanting to be a part of it. I respect that, Zoom. I respect it. Yeah, so, again, fairly standard drafts. I will say the top lane, not super standard. Like, LPL having a tank on either side in the top lane is pretty irregular, honestly. Like, neither of them going for the Gnar, both of them going kind of for a scaling option, wanting to just have that big front line for later on for team fights. I feel like, honestly, we're going to see quite a slow game, even with the presence from the two mid laners that you could see with the Lissandra and the Taliyah. I have a feeling this is going to be a slow one, though.
Yeah, it definitely feels like, especially because like Lissandra has good push against the Taliyah, so it can be kind of hard to make stuff happen there. Also, you heavily need to kind of rely on a seismic shove from the Taliyah to get the party started here for like Beichuan to invade. So I think the only way we might see it is like Yaoyao, when Kepler should get pushed in this bottom side, being able to roam around the map and find moments to play towards mid lane then. But even that's going to be kind of hard with the double range of the AD carry and support in that bot side. So yeah, it all becomes a little bit difficult for people to manage. but there are like moments where people can kind of try and use timing windows to maybe make a play towards mid, or even maybe Cryin trying to move towards bot side.
Yeah, there are certainly some opportunities for that kind of thing if they can find those windows. Whether or not they can, though, will be the question. I'm curious to see the form we'll get out from Ultra Prime today, right? This is a team that have had a lot of really rough series across the course of the split. Lyric famously saying that this was going to be a top 8 team towards the start of the split. That didn't really pan out for him. But you can understand the logic when you look at this roster. And now taking a game off of V5 in the most recent series, you have to say that maybe this will be a tough matchup for TT. TT, a team that usually extremely aggressive in the early game. This draft, though, not really lending towards that style.
Well, we say that they're already going to start off, at least trying to get the aggressive vision control in. Ultra Prime will respond, though. Kepler looks very small on my screen, or is that just... I don't know. Oh, maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's just whatever.
It's Arcane Jinx. Arcane Jinx is a little...
Oh, is it? Okay.
Little teeny weeny. But Jinx is kind of teeny weeny anyway. I'll be honest.
I saw a height graph. It was the behind the scenes footage of Arcane, and I saw the height graph. Jinx is like 5'5", 5'6", or something like that. She is an incredibly small human being.
Well, I will say, 5'5", 5'6" is like average height for an American girl. So it's not an incredibly small human being.
Well, I am 6'1",
that's
so I look at it, I'm like, okay.
We're just big blokes, that's all.
See, I'm 6'1", and I'm the short one in my family, so that doesn't help me out. Like, you know, that's where all of my my height scaling is skewed.
Yeah, you are a bit of a midget, it is fair to say. So, Hacker.
Yeah, she's 5'4". She's 5'4". Or Vi is 5'7". So see, that's what I was taking it away from.
Well, there you have it. Vi, absolute giga chat. I don't think anyone's going to argue with that one. Not that height is necessarily anything to do with giga chadness. Giga chadness is a mentality, boys and girls. Bit of heavy trading, bit of giga chadness from Yaoyao there with the hook and box.
Yeah, just trying to get these early trades going now. Still, Kepler won't have that same push that you get with the Rockets of old to try and like very quickly shove in this wave. So it looks like Beichuan going to try and make a gank happen to help Kepler get control.
I don't know how they didn't see this. He walked over a ward and he pushes into the anchor. TT, they live up to their reputation. They're still going to be aggressive.
They really wanted to make that one happen, and Hacker wants to try and respond. Ucal is close to the wall. This could be a problem.
Instant flash from Ucal. Good stuff from him. That could have been really dangerous. Cryin, though, going to be very happy to force out an early summoner in this matchup because Lissandra is so good at punishing you when flash is down.
Yeah, it's really difficult now for Ucal to try and stay safe in this. Especially, like, you would generally see, like, the Taliyah take the cleanse into this matchup and then have the summoner spell change up to get the teleport, but because Ucal went with the TP first, little bit greedy, and now going to be without a flash and may get punished for it. So I think we're going to have to keep our eyes on Beichuan to see if he can help out, but Beichuan, because he went for a bit of a play on the bot side, is now losing out a lot of his top camps to the Hacker here. So Beichuan will be set behind himself, and TT get the success boss, but it does hurt elsewhere.
Yeah, will be that blue buff taken by Hacker. I don't know if I've seen this Taliyah skin, but did a little munchkin just pop out of the floor there?
She rides one of them when she uses the Weaver's Wall as well. It's the new Star Guardian one, and it is just bizarre. It is so strange.
Okay. Well, League of Legends is definitely
a very
a video
serious
game.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm learning things every day. I don't really follow the skins very much. Not really that into it. But yeah, there it is. Look, little munchkin popping out on the floor. Exciting stuff here on Summoner's Rift Dagda. This Hacker grabs himself another crab. Loves that delicious food.
Yeah, I mean, this has just been...
He bites it. He's Trundle.
He wants it? Oh, bites it. True. Yeah, chomps
it
it.
in.
Really... See, I feel like when you say chomp, it's far more like visceral. Like, he really gets into it. So... yeah, definitely enjoying it quite a bit. We'll have to see what Beichuan's going to do to respond, though, because level 4 on Hacker, level 3 for Beichuan, only has his Raptors up, sitting significantly behind in farm. So if Hacker ever runs into Beichuan, with no flash on this Poppy either, it feels like Hacker just gets to have his run of the mill.
Oh, man. I'm just watching these two tanks, like, batter each other at the top side. It takes me back to like seasons ago when it was always tank top laners. And it's literally just a wet noodle fight. They're both so tanky. And like, they're getting each other low ultimately, but it takes so long to get damage down.
Yeah. Remember the Mundo, Shyvana, Renata?
Oh, man.
And it was like, then Trundle came in and smashed the trifecta because people were like, wait a second, this is just nuts. This is so strong. And then now Trundle's a jungler. Times have changed. He used to be a support of it, though. He was one of my favorites.
Yeah, that was back in the day. You know? I feel like that was very much a Korean support as well. I feel like the Korean teams were so good with Trundle's support, whereas a lot of the other teams in the rest of the world, not so much. It was all down to pillar usage, though. Like, nobody was good with the pillar back then. It's so long ago. Nowadays, like, everyone that plays Trundle, you see these pillars that are, like, the perfect knock-up every single time.
Yeah, my favorite is just, like, running Halo Blades, Trundle support, and nobody realizes how much damage you do with that one. We pull down. But we will see what Hacker can do at level 4, because we're going to have both junglers running into each other.
It's going to be a brawl on the bottom side. Great little hook coming out from Yaoyao. Easily done.
Wait, Hacker, you're supposed to help.
Hacker,
Hacker, you were supposed to do anything. Even just put the pillar there. That's all you had to do. It would have been fine.
No. Sorry, lads. I've got lethal tempo, not Halo Blades. You're on your own on this one.
Why did he not put the pillar down? I'm so confused.
I think just assessing that it was a totally lost play and maybe deciding he didn't want to be spotted or something. I don't know. I mean, ultimately, it was a really good hook from Yaoyao because he did it just after the handshake, so it would still go through.
Yeah, I mean, works out great for TT there. So now Kepler getting more help into this bot side. He's going to be very much accelerated. You can already see double longsword to just the Cole match for the Aphelios. He will be backing away now, so we'll have to see. I think he should only have enough for one longsword, but actually full noon quiver, damn. But yeah, at the moment, you're just getting the opportunity now for Kepler to get further and further ahead. You're going to eventually unlock Yaoyao as well to start playing around mid, which is why he, off reset, is now sitting here to see what he can do.
Yeah, obviously the boots there for Kepler. Boots are way more expensive than people realize. Like, a lot of the time, especially if you're not running runes, which obviously Kepler isn't running the boots runes. He's got his boots too early for that. Like, the boots are pretty expensive. 1,100 gold. It's almost a noon quiver in of itself, plus 2 longswords. So the lead is bigger than it looks in that bottom lane, and especially champions like Jinx, they rely on boots so heavily. Getting that attack speed, like when you're maxing your Q, is absolutely crucial.
Yeah, and look, we'll have to see now if he's going to be able to get the damage onto the turrets with those attack speed boots, because that's definitely something that is super nice. Ucal now roaming down towards this bot side. Nice timing here, just off the push that he had in mid. We'll have to see what they can do.
Here we go. Ucal wants to continue the snowball in this bottom side. This isn't even about team play. This isn't about snowballing. This isn't about gold lead. This is about cyberbullying once again. Miaoniu.
It's about
just
sending
getting railed.
A message. It's about showing the LPL. TT are here. They are looking firmly at playoffs, and they want to make sure that they are picking up these victories. And Miaoniu, unfortunately, is on the receiving end of that threat, because right now, Ultra Prime not looking so hot on this bot side. 0-3 for the Renata. 1,000 gold lead, and you can bet your cotton socks that all of that is on that bottom lane.
I'm not betting my cotton socks on anything. They're far too comfortable. I don't want to risk it. But I mean, it's a bit
yeah.
brutal.
Segue out of this one, bud. Yeah, you can take yourself in there and segue out.
At this point, I'm feeling like Miaoniu has lead socks because he ain't that quick at moving away from these plays. Yaoyao, his hook is an anchor because he's against lead socks, and that's how he's finding all of these hooks. Haha! I found
Magnets.
the segue.
Yeah, we have to see.
Segue out of that one, bud.
Well, lead is very close to lead, and I will lead us in a different direction here as we're going to be looking towards the dragon that's going to be coming up. Beichuan would love to get his control over this one, but I don't think it's going to be the case. Kepler and Yaoyao trying to get push on bot side. If you can stop reset here from Elk, you might be able to move up towards Rift, but it looks like TT aren't even going to bother. They're kind of aware, look, right now, Hacker will be stronger than Beichuan. Cryin offers more in team fights than Ucal, so let's just try and turn this instead into plates on the bottom side.
Yeah, gonna try and trade that one off here as Ultra Prime will grab themselves the Herald. Cryin, though, might be punished for the play here. Beichuan doing good damage, but Ucal can't really follow up in a big way. Oh, Hacker, he's here, does get the smite, does get the Herald, gets the local goal too, but at what cost? Still has flash available, locked against the wall, he ain't going nowhere. Pulled back, and look at the CC out of this 3-man combo.
Huge amount of CC from TT was set up that kill, but they were not that, are they just that slight bit too late to try and get in on towards the Herald. It does mean, unfortunately, they won't be able to contest that. Still, though, nice to get that kill back. Nice to buy a little bit of time and space for themselves, as well as Kepler and Yaoyao. Oh, Elk.
Elk going to be knocked up here. Yaoyao with an easy follow-up. The Flame Chopper's behind as well. And Kepler takes the second kill of the game. It's easy pickings, and this is the thing about Elk. This is what we said, like, he's incredible when he's put in a position where he has a lead and can take over a team fight, but quite often in the laning phase and moving around the map, he does get a bit mispositioned and does get caught out.
And it's the disaster for Ultra Prime, because remember what we said, when Ultra Prime looked good against V5, it was Elk who looked good against V5. It was Elk who was setting up in these team fights, but this bot lane has gone disastrously for them. And it looks, unfortunately, like with the rest of the team not really having the damage to carry this through, TT have put a wrench into the works for Ultra Prime, and Hoya getting good vision on this top side to make sure he's going to be safe and not become the next target.
Okay, I feel a bit bad calling out Elk's history here, because that was pretty unlucky. I mean, they were both on a ward, but the timing really nice from Kepler, and they just it's a bit of a duo mistake there from Ultra Prime, as opposed to just Elk himself. Beichuan could be caught here, but I don't think Cryin's going to go for anything. First Drake is on the map, and usually we're seeing it after that first Herald. The first Herald's been taken, and you can see both teams, massive amount of pings on towards that Drake.
Yeah, immediately TT, though, get control over mid. Hoya's roamed down because he's been able to continuously push in top side. And now TT are in a better position to go for this. No TP on Zoom, so he's got a long walk ahead of him, which should give TT the time to finish off this Drake.
And I'm loving the proactivity we're seeing from TT. I was a little... Oh, hang on. Miaoniu is here. Hacker's moving over as well. He's just going to get hooked in, though. Hacker might have gone too deep for this one. Forced to flash. Ucal looking for more. 2 flashes taken by TT on top of the Drake as well. They're very happy with that one. Zoom could be in trouble, too. Does have Bellows Breath, though, so he'll be fine.
That was very close to disaster for Ultra Prime. Not only the fact that they lost the Dragon and maybe some kills, but they could have lost this Herald play, where if you die as Hacker, it's a long time for you to get back on the map to be able to put that down, and the timer was ticking away. But they will get some much needed goal back into Ultra Prime's hands, and now Kepler and Yaoyao are free to push in, with Beichuan again playing babysit for the bot side.
And crucially, Cole just finished there for Kepler, who's already 2-0-2. So he'll be able to finish off his mythic on this next recall, you'd imagine here. Crucially as well, that Herald got the charge on the bottom tower, but Elk, he got an auto in, but I think it was just a tiny bit too early. So all of the gold went to Hacker there, none of it to that Aphelios.
And now you're starting to run out of options here as Ultra Prime, right? Because obviously Elk doesn't really get the gold that he was really hoping for. And you're looking at mid lane as well. Crown of the Shattered Queen is massive for Ucal, especially when we talk about this combo of like Hacker and Cryin trying to make plays on towards Ucal. Crown of the Shattered Queen means that you'll be able to take that upfront burst that comes through from Cryin and hopefully escape afterwards as well. So it makes the play in mid a little bit more difficult, buys more time. And Miaoniu, you just need to stop getting hit by stuff at this stage, because it ain't looking pretty.
Yeah, Miaoniu having a really hard game for himself, getting caught out of position and just getting chunked, honestly. And the damage ain't going to get any easier, right? Mythic's being finished across the board here from TT. And the biggest issues we've seen from TT have been sort of like 20 to 25 minute mark, like shot calling, like macro kind of issues, right? Right now, this is their element. They're scrapping in the early game, fighting over Drakes, fighting for control of the jungle. This is their bread and butter. So Ultra Prime do need to be cautious, because yes, you got a lot of scaling on your composition, but if Elk can't get ahead, which he's not right now, you don't have much damage in your team.
And it's composition that suits TT as well. This is a squad, as you can see right now, likes to get a lot of vision in the enemy jungle, look for picks with this 3-man unit we've been touting from the start of the day, and then try and push that forward into being able to control side lanes in the mid game. But as you say, Munch, like they really do struggle in the mid game when it comes towards things like the team fighting and that. Like that's where just, I think the language barriers between like Hoya and Ucal versus with the rest of the squad have been pretty evident for TT.
Here we go, pick on the jungler here. Hacker, though, is pretty tanky. A rocket comes on in, Beichuan decides it's time to leave that one. Cryin not even actually using the ultimate in the end there. A nice little attempt from TT, but they can't quite get the job done.
Yeah, Subjugate keeps Hacker up and alive. Beichuan, though, still trying to invade in onto here. Yaoyao had backed away, so they didn't quite have the CC chain that they were hoping for, but should give a lot of pressure bot side as Beichuan takes a lot of upfront burst from Elk.
Yeah, good little combo there from Elk as well, using the Q, but it went ever so slightly wide on the Q in the end there. It would have been just over half of Beichuan's health, which, you know, when you're shooting onto a tank, that's pretty impressive damage, really. So, good mechanics out from the AD carry at very least.
Yeah, that combo is the highest single target DPS that Aphelios has available, if you can land all of it. Like, the Q, when you land, it gives you just enough time to shoot out the ultimate, so you can get one auto attack in during the missile speed, like, as the ult is traveling across, and then you can get the follow-up Q as well. So a lot of very quick burst damage onto a single target. Unfortunately, just not quite enough, but we'll keep them safe in the bot side, which was all that you really wanted there for Elk. So he will manage to collect that wave, still keeping Kepler at least somewhat honest, but you can start to see already, like, with the boots fully completed for Kepler, now resetting for the Zeal as well. This Jinx is very quickly getting to a point where she's going to be an issue. And as long as Zoom and Cryin don't get access to Kepler, this Jinx should be reasonably okay to try and carry these fights.
Yeah, Jinx should be able to be in a really good spot across these fights, right? Because it's not just about where you are in terms of items, also, it's in terms of the compositions, like, Kepler has so much protection from the rest of his team. It's a similar story for Elk, right, where it's going to be pretty much front to back. You've got big tanks in the top lane, you know, tanky junglers there as well. And then you've got a somewhat peel-oriented and pick-oriented mid laner, and then a support that has a Q ability. That's the only similarity I've got there. But ultimately, the key thing is that AD carries can kind of just have a lot of space to pop off. Jinx loves those situations. So when you're this far ahead on the Jinx versus the Aphelios, and when you'll have that range advantage as well with no one really to punish you, it's feeling like a pretty good game for Kepler.
It's also just the fact that Poppy can interrupt so many of the setups for Ultra Prime, right? Like,
hang on, we're going for a dive here. The Weaver's Wall behind enemy lines. Hacker does have flash available, sorry. There's the Herald Wall charge. I thought they were going to go a little deeper than that one, but looks like they play it relatively safe. As Zoom takes a bit of damage. Bellows Breath to stop him being pulled in, but knocked up regardless here and forced to flash away. Ucal over the wall, gets onto
Hoya.
Hacker. Hoya setting it up on the backline. Rocket in! And TT taking out Ultra Prime.
TT destroying Ultra Prime there. Zoom not in a good spot at all as he tries to move across to join the team. And TT say thank you very much. Mid tower kills. Dragon will have it all.
Lovely stuff here from TT. We said they were aggressive and they prove it. Even with somewhat of a scaling composition, they are more than happy to be proactive. 7-0, 18 minutes on the clock here. And TT got themselves a 2,000 gold lead, got themselves 2 Drakes. This is beautiful stuff.
And it just means that, unfortunately for Ultra Prime, they're slipping further and further behind. 7-0 on the score line. And there's just very little that they can do. Like, that's what I wanted to talk about coming into this, was like, as if Zoom tries to go for those engages, his or 2 counts as a dash. So Beichuan can actually interrupt that with the Steadfast Presence. Like, Cryin does not want to be diving in solo into, like, Yaoyao, Ucal, Hoya. Like, there's so many things that can lock him up if he tries to dive completely solo into the backline. So not having the potential here for these Ornn ultimates to really come through and give room to Ultra Prime, it can actually cause issues to have access to TT's backline and make sure they're shutting down Kepler.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about them trying to shut down Kepler. They don't even get to think about shutting down Kepler. They're all being shut down, right? So it's so impossible. Or at least it has been with the way that these fights have been set up. Really great stuff from TT. And you can see them slowly but surely now inching that vision line further in. They've got the tier 1 in the mid lane, but yet to push in those side lanes. And you see them trying to expand that control.
I mean, it's very difficult for them to try and get side lane control. Like, Cryin can match up against anyone at the moment, to be honest. Like, Zoom is perfectly happy to just continue catching these waves. He's got TP to join in any fight. So TT are just kind of using that presence of Ucal on top side with the Weaver's Wall to try and cause a numbers advantage on top end where they can continue establishing this vision control. They'd love to get, like, as you can see, wave pushed in mid and then rotate up to the top end so Ucal can keep pushing here. And that's exactly what they've managed to do.
Zoom does retreat here, but it means a tower taken down by Ucal, as you say. Nice little bit of map play coming out from TT, trying to use that mid presence that they have. I still can't get over the little munchkin that pops out of the wall for Taliyah.
Dude, wait till you see the ult. Wait till you see the ult. It's nuts looking.
Yeah, I've seen the ult fly across, but I didn't notice the shenaniganery of the situation, so I'll keep my eyes peeled for the next one. Skins really are a thing in League of Legends, that is for sure. It's a 2,000 gold lead. I completely lost track of what I was saying before, but nice macro, I think it was, basically, is the long short of it for TT, as they use that mid control to get into the side lanes. And this is exactly what you want, honestly, especially when you've got a comp running things like this Taliyah. We talked about the presence that you can have from that mid lane. Like, Ucal's having a great game. This is exactly the kind of game where Ucal has shone throughout the split, right? Where he can have something like a Taliyah and go in and influence those side lanes.
But I also think just for like a TT coming into playoffs, kind of showing a bit of a different style, right? Like heavily playing around this bottom side. It's not like bot to mid, it's mid to bot. Like mixing things up just that little bit. But then you actually have to be aware that TT at least can play elsewhere on the map. And we'll still be able to then find success with finding picks, you know, playing the map out correctly. Guessing more and more gold on towards key carries like Kepler here. It's good to see for a TT that, as we say, if they win this series and their next series, will be guaranteed playoffs. And at least for game one of this series, they're off to a good start.
Yep, they certainly are. Yeah, I mean, it's a flawless game almost with the one tower for Ultra Prime. Obviously, they did get the Herald as well, but still phenomenal stuff from TT. And for Ultra Prime, it's kind of like, you know, the games versus V5 were long. Like, Ultra Prime have been a very slow team across the course of this split, generally speaking. But it is a little bit like, come on, guys. You've got to be a little more proactive than this. I'd like to see more from Cryin in the early games, especially on this Lissandra, where you can be the one to move first. You can be the one to just sacrifice a wave. I mean, that was one of the things that Cryin was renowned for in the past, was just sacking waves in the mid lane to be able to go for roams. That's really not what we've been seeing this split.
Yeah, I don't really blame Cryin, at least in this game, though, because honestly, I think much more of that is on Hacker for this one. Like, you saw Cryin, like, blow the flash on Ucal early.
Yeah.
And Hacker just never came back. Like, Cryin was just like, hey, look, bud, like, easy kill. You know, Ucal's just sitting duck. I got ult.
Also just watch the play bot, right, where he kind of just watched Miaoniu go in and die. It was like, yeah, you're on your own, buddy.
I don't know, but it's been a weird one for Hacker. Like, some games Hacker looks amazing, some games he looks not so hot. We'll have to see how he's going to look here.
Some games they muscle into the river and try and fight for Hex Tech Drake, which, when I say some games, I mean this game, because they're doing that right now. They're into the river. Hoya on the top side of the play, though, trying to flank and threaten Ultra Prime, but needs to be a little cautious not to take too much damage for himself, because there is a ward over that wall. Beichuan still holding strong in the river alongside Yaoyao. Might have gone too far, but a great little steadfast presence stops any follow-up from Zoom.
Yeah, Ultra Prime, though, know that steadfast presence is down, so now they can actually look to go for the engage with Zoom. That's why they're posturing a little bit further forward, but again, look at how spread out TT are being, right? They're actually making sure that they always have Ucal in position where the Weaver's Ball can get value.
Kepler just goes for a tower instead. Hacker's alone here and just sent flying. Beichuan's like, you know what, we want the Drake, but the Drake actually reset here. This is bad news for TT. They used the Keeper's Verdict. It doesn't actually get them a fight, and now Zoom, locked up by Hoya just as the Forge God comes in. And now TT back onto the players. Hacker zoned off by Ucal on the top side, but the Dragon resets once more. Moonlight Vigil on the backside of the play. Yaoyao turns golden. In comes Hacker, but low on HP. There's one with the rocket on the backside as Kepler's looking to clean things up. Zoom, good fella's breath here. In comes Cryin to set the play up. Two come the way of Ultra Prime as they look for more as well. L desperate to get on the back line, but he can't get onto Kepler, who's free firing onto Zoom here. Ucal escapes with his life. Hoya being that front line. Cryin turns gold as Hacker tries to get back on the play, but Ucal's got blue buff. He can keep this up all day long. Kepler over the wall! Zoom claps him into the floor and escapes on the top side.
So much of this fight for TT was backpedaling, trying to keep Kepler safe, and they did it for so long, but they can't quite keep him safe at the finish line. Dragon will remain standing, which means we're about to do this when all these people spawn once more. But we'll catch it here in the replay. Like, watch how much is dedicated to keeping Kepler alive. Steadfast presence here from Beichuan denies the knock-up. Hacker trying to get access to Kepler, as the ultimate from the Renata comes across, but again, cleanse there to keep him safe. Miaoniu sniped, gives Kepler the get excited that he wants, and then this is where people start to realize in TT are getting low, but a great steadfast presence once more, denies the engage. Ucal then backpedaling to keep Elk off of Kepler, which means that Ucal has to then flash away. You got Hoya to try and keep Ucal safe. The peel and the calls here from TT actually really strong to try and keep them up and healthy in this fight.
Hacker walks away from the zoom.
Yeah.
Just asserting dominance at the end of the play. Crucially, while we're in that replay, Drake was taken by TT. No contest from the side of Ultra Prime there. So TT, crucially, do get themselves onto Soul Point, and it's a Hextech Soul as well. So big moment there for TT. 5 minutes time, and they can brute force a Dragon Soul unless Ultra Prime do find a fight, unless Ultra Prime find that opportunity. But you'd expect in 5 minutes time, Elk might be on that 3 items. We might be getting to the point where Ultra Prime could fight back.
I mean, you have that match for Jinx, and they want to find the pick on Elk, but TT may end up miscalculating a little bit on a lot of those spells, so won't be able to find that pick that they want.
Good attempt there, but Elk using the Gale Force keeps himself safe and keeps himself alive. Ultra Prime fighting for control in the mid lane. I feel like we're getting a little bit A-rammy here. I feel like both teams kind of just ignoring side lanes at this point and just going, do you know what? We need to fight for mid control and then maybe look at Baron.
Beichuan still trying to push off the flank. The thing is, Kepler has the range advantage. You're very short range in Ultra Prime, so they can try and siege up if they would like to, but I don't think that's exactly what they need to do right now. Like, again, I do agree with you. Trying to play sides with Taliyah, gonna bode a little bit better, but without the Weaver's Wall, maybe they are just worried about excuse me, sorry, hiccups are happening. The quick engage coming through from Ultra Prime.
You certainly can pull the trigger with a Lissandra and an Ornn. Like, if you do get caught out, you're not good enough. Kepler almost has cleanse available. Ucal and Beichuan are two-manning the Baron, while Kepler just plays distraction in the mid lane. Hoya there as well. Yaoyao playing bouncer. This Baron's going to be gone. They're not even going to be able to check in time. Ultra Prime caught with their trousers around their ankles. They get nothing in response.
Great play from TT and well read. I mean, they were like, hey, look, Ultra Prime are playing very defensive. They don't want to come into their jungle. We have full vision control in the jungle, so let's just go for it. And as you said, like, once you think, oh, we can see Kepler, there's no way they're doing Dragon. Or, sorry, Baron, but I mean, Rabadon's death cap onto this Taliyah, she does a lot of damage at the moment, and Kepler is able to come back over just as the Baron hits half health, so great call from TT.
Yeah, really great stuff from TT and Ultra Prime. Like I said before, they get absolutely nothing. There's no cross map. They didn't even realize the Baron was happening. So, like you say, great read from TT. And now, things start to get a little bit tough, right? Because we just saw the somewhat ARAM style gameplay from the two teams around mid lane. Well, now you can play side lanes very comfortably from TT. And the amount of pressure that these Baron minions are going to provide is really tough for the side of Ultra Prime to deal with, because Zoom can't just clear the waves in the side lane. Cryin can't just clear the waves in the side lane. So now the pressure can come out from TT, and it becomes a bit more difficult for Ultra Prime to just turtle up and try and scale.
That's so difficult to do at the moment, though, is Weaver's Wall once more comes through. Poppycopter started as well. They're just looking to separate everyone, and Hacker, he's in trouble.
Yeah, he's pulled in. Surely goes down on this one. Rocket available slightly wide, though, as Yaoyao just punches Hoya in the face with his giant anchor, but Crayin's caught. Has to use his ulti over the wall. Can they finish it off? Big boulder in, but Ucal manages to get the cleave down, flashes over for the double. Ucal looking to have the best split of his career so far. A triple kill comes in as they look for more. Permafrost available. Elk cleanses it away. Beichuan gets the knock up. The rest of the team trying to get in, but it won't be more for now. Triple for Ucal, though.
They will settle for the inhibitor, and that... Oh, actually, maybe they won't settle for the inhibitor. Hang on a second. TT looking to end.
They're not settling for anything this game, Dagda. It's 29 minutes in, and TT find a window, open the game up. They steal that Baron away under Ultra Prime's noses and immediately take the game.
A beautiful game one from Ultra Prime. Sorry, from TT. Ultra Prime getting absolutely massacred here by TT. And we say, look, this was probably going to be a bit of a slower game. Not really expecting a huge amount, but Beichuan says, to hell with that. I'm going to play around this bot side. And with 4 kills in that bottom half of the map, instantly, TT are off to a great start. And from that, they just play around Kepler, they play around these objectives, they look for dragons, they're able to take it smoothly.
Yeah, really, really great stuff coming out from TT. It's so good to see them playing such a clean game as well. When, like, drafting a somewhat scaling composition, but basically recognizing that, look, Ultra Prime also are scaling. So we're just going to be as proactive as ever. We still have an advantage. We still can outdamage you in the early game. We could still outplay you in the early game and just take over. And Ultra Prime, honestly, aside from the fight over the 3rd Drake, pretty much just rolled over and let the game happen to them.
Yeah, I think we flipped the coin and we got Slacker instead of Hacker. Because honestly, Hacker, he had so many opportunities as to where he wanted to try and play. Like, you have the mid lane where you've already burnt the flash. You have the bot lane where you're sitting in the bush with your pillar to stop the engage. And you're like, nah, not feeling it. It's like, I do not get this, man. I do not understand it.
Yeah, and the early game's meant to be when he, like, pops off,
yeah.
But Ucal having a great game for himself, right? We saw that final play where he gets the triple kill, flashing so aggressively, and after getting caught out during that laning phase, had to burn his flash early. But like you say, no punish from Hacker. He was able to take over so many great weavers, walls leading to picks in from Yaoyao. We keep on talking about Ucal, Beichuan, and Yaoyao, but honestly, this trio is so good, and it felt like Hoya was kind of stepping into that trio, becoming a quartet, becoming a quartet with the boys. All there to protect Kepler and set up these picks.
Yeah, it was a barbershop quartet because they completely cut Ultra Prime down where they stood. Elk, you got to look at his damage though. You can see he was trying to stand this, but again,
Elk's fringe is still intact though. Look at that. What a switch.
Yeah, yeah, he's able to stall out whatever which way he wants. But that's the problem, is that like stylistically, Ultra Prime needed to try and play around this bot side. Like, they needed to make sure that they're able to get Elk into a position where he's comfortable. It's been their biggest win condition. And again, we're seeing that, like, they're just not willing to. And I don't understand why it's not the case. Hacker, again, like, he was there. Could have, you shut down Ucal in the mid lane. Suddenly you're able to play way more heavily around the bot side, but that wasn't the case. I mean, you can see there, 52% of the team's damage Elk was able to pick up, and just nothing. Like, he's the highest damage to gold ratio in the game, and still just can't do anything, especially when he's set that far behind in the early stages.
Yeah, a tough one. Tough one for Ultra Prime. Tough one to try and get yourself back into a game when it's gone so badly in the early game. But from the side of TT, again, impressed. And I will say I'm a little disappointed at the stark contrast we're getting from Ultra Prime here. Yeah. When you had such a good series against V5. Like, you had such a great game too. The late game fights were amazing. Like, we didn't even get to see any late game fights here because they just fell so far behind from TT. Great proactivity from TT, though, to punish incredibly lackluster early game from Ultra Prime. We'll see if TT can keep this ball rolling. Remember, they need to win both of their series, and if they can play like that, it's looking easy.